Introduction to the Meitei-Kuki conflict in Manipur. Written by Mangboy Hauki, spokesperson, Kuki National Assembly. The world would be shocked and stunned if they knew what the government of Manipur in India is doing to the Kuki people. But why are the brightest minds, the head of state, editors, news analysts, and leaders, turning a blind eye? The answer lies in deception, misinformation, and a lack of understanding of the Kuki people's plight. All problems and conflicts are a matter of cause and effect. The Meitei expansionist policy of the Meitei-centric Manipur government is the root cause of the disturbances in Manipur, leading to strife and war. The false education and hatred towards the Kukis have armed Meitei youth, affecting both communities. The inability to restore normalcy has led to a deep-seated distrust, making separate administration for both communities necessary for their survival. The British grouping of Meitei and Kuki ethnic communities into a single political unit is unprecedented in history. The Government of India's decision to place Meitei and Kuki tribal groups under a single administration has expired, especially when N. Biren Singh used all available resources to annihilate the Kuki ethnic minority in Manipur. It's time to unveil the truth and recognize the necessity for bifurcation of Manipur proper, Imphal Valley, and Hills territory for better peace and prosperity. The truth endures and shall triumph. The Meitei-Kuki conflict in Manipur. A complex history. In Manipur, a northeastern state of India, has been a long-standing issue. To understand the complexities of this conflict, it's essential to delve into the state's history and geography. Geography and history of Manipur. Manipur covers an area of 22,327 square kilometers, with the Imphal Valley accounting for 10% and the hills accounting for 90%. The Meitei community is predominantly settled in the Imphal Valley, while the Kukichin groups and Naga tribe inhabit the hills. During the Burmese invasion, 1819-1826 AD, the Meitei king fled to Kachhar district of Assam with hundreds of his people. With the help of the British and the Kukis, the Meitei king achieved victory against the Burmese occupation. The Treaty of Yandabu recognized the sovereignty of Manipur, and Manipur became a British protectorate state. The Meitei king, Maharaja Gambhir Singh, composed a poem, Channa Koina Pansaba Home Koina Pan Nakpa Manipur Sinalaipak, which translates to, "The hills and the hills tribe encircles my abode Manipur land of jewels." The ballad's revelation. The ancient ballad offers a glimpse into the Meitei kingdom, depicting it as a land of jewels surrounded by hills inhabited by distinct tribal communities. This portrayal suggests that the hills surrounding Imphal Valley were not part of the Meitei kingdom, but rather a separate entity with its own inhabitants. The birth of Manipur. A significant turning point in Meitei history came when King Pamhiva, in 1718 AD, adopted Hindu Vaishnavism and renamed his kingdom Kangalipak to Manipur, derived from the Sanskrit words money, gold, and pur, land. This transformation was catalyzed by Shanti Das, a Bengali Hindu missionary, who influenced the king to burn existing books, introduce the Bengali script, and convert his subjects to Vaishnavism. The hills remain unchanged. However, the tribal communities in the surrounding hills remained untouched by this transformation, retaining their distinct identity and traditions. As they were not part of the Meitei kingdom of Sinalaipak, they did not adopt Vaishnavism, preserving their unique cultural heritage. Demographics and representation of Manipur. The Meitei community, predominantly residing in the valley, comprises approximately 60% of Manipur's population. In the 60-member Manipur Legislative Assembly, they have a representation of 40 members, while the tribal communities, including Kukis and Nagas, have 20 members. This proportional representation has been a subject of contention, with many arguing that it disproportionately favors the Meitei community. The history of Manipur's constituencies. Manipur has two parliamentary constituencies, Inner Manipur, which represents the valley, and Outer Manipur, which represents the hills. The Inner Manipur constituency, also known as Kangalipak, is dominated by the Meitei community and was once ruled by Meitei kings. In contrast, the Outer Manipur constituency represents the tribal areas, which were historically ruled by Kuki chiefs and Naga headmen. A history of separate existence. The Kukis and Nagas have traditionally lived in the hills, while the Meiteis have lived in the valley, with each community maintaining its independence. There is no recorded history of Meitei settlement in the hills. In 1949, the Meitei king Bodhachandra signed the merger agreement with the Union of India, ceding his kingdom of approximately 700 square miles. However, the tribal areas were merged without any consultation, leading to ongoing tensions and disputes. The need for a nuanced understanding. Understanding the complex history and demographics of Manipur is crucial to addressing the state's ongoing challenges. By examining the representation, constituencies, and historical context, we can gain a deeper insight into the issues that have shaped the state's politics and society. Causes of conflict. Several factors have contributed to the conflict between the Meitei and Kuki communities. 1. Population explosion in Imphal. The influx of people from remote hill districts has led to a population explosion in Imphal, causing concern among the Meitei community about land encroachment. Imphal, the capital of Manipur, stands out for its exceptional infrastructure and opportunities. However, beneath its facade lies a complex web of disparities and insecurities. A staggering 90% of Manipur's budget goes to Imphal Valley, covering just 10% of the state's area. This has led to the underdevelopment of tribal areas, prompting tribal politicians, bureaucrats, and businesses to migrate to Imphal. The migration conundrum. While Imphal's superior facilities attract tribal populations, this migration alarms the Meitei community. They feel insecure due to the population imbalance between the valley and hill districts. The existing land laws, which permit tribals to buy land in Imphal but restrict Meiteis from doing so in hill districts, further exacerbate tensions. A recipe for discord. This skewed development model has created a sense of distrust and competition between communities. As resources and opportunities concentrate in Imphal, tribal areas lag behind, perpetuating underdevelopment. The restrictive land laws have become a contentious issue, fueling feelings of insecurity and resentment among the Meitei community. Parallel frustrations simmer in Manipur. Tribal discontent. Tribal communities feel neglected by the government, with inadequate development and resources in their areas. Meitei insecurity. Meiteis are frustrated with laws restricting their land ownership rights outside Imphal Valley, fueling feelings of insecurity and inequality. These twin dilemmas highlight the complex challenges facing Manipur, where addressing one community's concerns without considering the others can exacerbate tensions. The Inner Line Permit System Bill. The 2016 bills aimed to restrict non-tribal settlement in Manipur but allowed Meiteis to buy land and settle in hill districts, leading to protests from the tribal community. Controversial bills of 2015. In a shocking move, the Manipur legislature passed three contentious bills in a mere 30 minutes, catching the tribal legislators off guard. The bills, introduced in 2015 and revisited in 2016, sparked widespread outrage among tribal communities. The three bills: 1. Protection of Manipur People's Bill, 2015, regulates the entry of non-Manipuris into the state. 2. Manipur Land Revenue and Land Reforms, 7th Amendment, Bill, 2015, proposes amendments to the existing Land Revenue and Land Reforms Act. 3. Manipur Shops and Establishments, 2nd Amendment, Bill, 2015, seeks to amend the existing Shops and Establishments Act. Tribal concerns. The tribal communities, particularly in the hill districts, perceived the bills as a threat to their autonomy, land ownership, and rights. Key concerns included lack of consultation. The bills were passed without adequate consultation with tribal representatives. Land ownership. The amendments raised fears among tribals that they would lose control over their land. Inner line permit system. The bills were seen as a precursor to the implementation of the inner line permit system. Protests in unclaimed bodies. The controversy surrounding the bills led to widespread protests and shutdowns in tribal areas. Tragically, 9 tribal protesters lost their lives in Churachandpur, and their bodies remained unclaimed, symbolizing the deep-seated grievances of the tribal communities. 3. The Anglo-Kuki War issue. The centenary celebration of the Anglo-Kuki War, 1917–1980, has been a point of contention, with the Meitei community objecting to the term Anglo-Kuki War. The Kuki community in Manipur celebrated the Anglo-Kuki War centenary to commemorate their rebellion against British colonial forces from 1917–1919. The war was sparked by the British demand for Kuki men to join the Labour Corps during World War I, which the Kukis resisted. However, the Meitei and Naga communities objected to this celebration due to differing interpretations of history and territorial claims. Reasons for objection. Terminology dispute. Naga groups argue that the conflict should be termed a rebellion rather than a war, as mentioned in British records. They claim that using the term war implies a level of sovereignty and legitimacy that they do not believe the Kukis had. Territorial claim. The Kukis memorial stones bore the inscription, "In defense of our ancestral land and freedom," which the Nagas found objectionable. The Nagas claim that the Kukis are trying to distort history and assert ownership over lands that the Nagas consider their ancestral territory. Historical narrative. The Meiteis also have their own historical narrative, with the Kongjong War, 1891, being a significant event in their history. They may see the Kuki celebration as an attempt to overshadow or contradict their own historical experiences. Consequences. The Manipur government ordered the destruction of memorial stones erected by the Kukis, citing objections from the Meitei and Naga communities. The Kuki community resisted this order, with some groups threatening to take matters into their own hands. The controversy highlights the complex and often contentious nature of historical narratives and territorial claims in Manipur. The Anglo-Kuki War, 1917–1919, was a pivotal conflict between the British colonial forces and the Kuki tribes in northeast India and western Burma, occurring 26 years after the fall of the Meitei kingdom in 1891. Diverse perspectives. Meitei perspective. The Meiteis see the Kongjong War, 1891, as a defining moment in their history, symbolizing resistance against British imperialism. They view the Anglo-Kuki War as a separate event that overlooks their shared struggle against colonialism. Naga perspective. The Nagas claim the Kukis are outsiders fighting on Naga land, arguing that the Nagas contributed to the British war effort during World War I while the Kukis resisted. Kuki perspective. The Kukis assert they fought to defend their ancestral land and customs, refusing British demands for labor corps due to their traditional practices and sovereignty. A multifaceted history. The Anglo-Kuki War highlights the complex experiences and perspectives of Manipur's communities. By exploring these differing viewpoints, we can gain a deeper understanding of the region's history and the struggles of its people. 4. Reserved Forest Act and Forest Encroaches issues. The Manipur government, led by N. Biren Singh, has been accused of targeting Kuki settlements in the name of protecting reserved forests, leading to evictions and tensions between the community. Reserved Forest Act, a tool of displacement. The Reserved Forest Act has been wielded as a technical tool to displace tribals from their ancestral land, often through force and dubious legal interpretations. The N. Biren Singh government has targeted Kuki settlements near the Imphal Valley, using the act as a pretext for eviction drives. Injustice and neglect. Despite Kukis possessing land ownership documents predating British rule, their petitions have been dismissed, citing CM Biren Singh's orders. The constituency MLA's token visit with relief materials has been seen as insufficient, highlighting the perceived neglect and marginalization of tribal communities. A testament to injustice. K. Songjang village in Churachandpur stands as a stark reminder of the government's actions, perceived as driven by meaty population interests rather than genuine environmental concerns. 5. Press censorship in Manipur. The government's suppression of freedom of speech and expression has created a climate of fear and intimidation in the state. The Manipur government imposed press censorship to silence public criticism, specifically targeting the Kukis and their narrative on history and geography. With Kuki legislators outnumbered in the Manipur Assembly, the Kukis turned to media and human rights organizations to voice their concerns. Mark T. Hookey, president of the International Human Rights Association Manipur chapter, emerged as a prominent figure in highlighting Kuki grievances. However, his efforts were met with stern censorship, and he was eventually arrested by the Manipur police in Delhi. Disproportionate censorship. The censorship was starkly unbalanced, with media organizations freely propagating anti-Kuki propaganda. They labeled the Kukis as foreigners, refugees, and illegal immigrants, claims that were fiercely contested by the Kukis with historical documents. A controversial revelation. Mark T. Hookey's Facebook post to the Manipur titular king, Leshembasana Jauba, revealed that his grandfather had ceded only 700 square miles to India in the accession agreement. This statement sparked controversy, leading to his prolonged detention in Manipur jail, with the government repeatedly releasing, arresting and re-arresting him with multiple cases framed against him. Immediate cause of the conflict. The All Tribal Student Union Manipur organized a tribal solidarity march on May 3, 2023, to protest the Manipur government's and Manipur High Court's decision to grant ST status to Meiteis. The peaceful rally turned violent when Meiteis burned the Anglo-Kuki War Centenary Commemoration Gate at Churachandpur. Meitei-Kuki conflict in Manipur is a complex issue, rooted in history and geography. Understanding the causes of the conflict is crucial to finding a lasting solution. By examining the population explosion in Imphal, the Inner Line Permit System bills, the Anglo-Kuki War issue, the Reserved Forest Act, and press censorship, we can gain a deeper insight into the complexities of this conflict. Conclusion: unveiling the truth behind the Meitei-Kuki conflict. The Meitei-Kuki conflict in Manipur was not a sudden eruption of violence, but a well-planned and orchestrated atrocity perpetrated by the Manipur government. The Indian government's tacit support to the Meitei-centric Manipur government has emboldened the perpetrators, allowing the violence to escalate. Government inaction and partiality. If the Indian government had intervened impartially, the violence could have been contained within 24 hours. India's military prowess, capable of confronting external threats, should have been deployed to restore order in Manipur. However, the partial application of law and order has given the Meitei-dominated government a free hand to attack the Kuki minority. Looting of armory and continued violence. The looting of over 6,000 arms, thousands of bombs, and lakhs of ammunition from Manipur's armories is a stark reminder of the government's failure to maintain law and order. The continued violence and harassment of Kukis are a direct result of this failure. Delayed justice. The union government's reluctance to take action on the N. Biren Singh audio leak scandal raises questions about its willingness to deliver justice to the victimized Kukis. The delay in verdicts and investigations suggests a deliberate attempt to shield the wrongdoers. Call to action. Thank you for watching this video. If you believe in justice and truth, please like this video to show your support. Subscribe to this channel for more updates. Share this video to spread awareness. Demand justice for the Kukis and accountability from the government. Together, we can make a difference and bring attention to the plight of the Kukis in Manipur.